Hey guys. So, I want to talk about gossip. Um, I don't do it just because I don't, just because I don't, but I also don't get out. I'm literally always stuck at home. I have no social circles. The only thing I got is Facebook. And really, I'm just talking about myself anytime I'm on there. But, it really hits home, this whole gossip thing. I've had just a couple of experiences in the last, 5 years or so, where I've had a good example of how this whole perceptional reality will work. I've always kind of lived a certain way. If I meet somebody or what have you, and they want to tell me, or somebody wants to tell me like a story about them, maybe you shouldn't hang out with so-and-so because of such and such. Honestly, I tune all that stuff out, because not only was that only their experience with them, but even then I kind of understood this to a certain degree, but I really understand it at this point, and I know now why I've always been who I've been. This is Sarah. But things that happen in people's lives, let's just say you have some friends that had a situation and they split ways and what have you, and then you hear about the story from one person and or both, but each person that has a story to tell about an experience is only telling it from, first off, their perceptual reality, and what their beliefs are, what kind of information they have in regards to just life experience in general. So like if they hear that this kind of thing happened, they would then presume that that means that that person must not be a nice person, or so on and so forth. So not only is it in that degree, but usually it's a hearsay thing. So let's say one of the two people that were arguing start talking about their side of the situation. Now we're not talking about just the person's perception looking from the outside in at the two people, but we're talking about one of their perspectives, talking to the outside observer and sharing their perspective and their reality based on their traumas, their triggers, their belief systems, and their patterns. I think all of us can relate in person where we've had experience with somebody where you're saying something and they're hearing something completely differently. This happens a lot. In fact, you'll notice it happens when two people are saying the same thing. Quite often. And it's all because they're actually thinking they're arguing a different point, because they're holding different perspectives and belief systems and patterns that they're identifying in the situation that apply to their experience and their life and make sense to them from that perspective. So it's superbly important to understand that this is always going on when you hear somebody talk about something that's taken place, because there's going to be a lot of times that people tell you something about somebody that just it's not true. In fact, it's so not true that it's only based on their trauma bond and something that they created with their choices also and their experiences, and in fact they were the ones that called forth the experience to begin with, so they would have to be the original creator, or at least house as much of it as the other person they're either accusing or saying something in regards to, and so it's a really dangerous world when people hear something from someone and don't go direct. I've always had it of the highest importance to get it from the horse's mouth themselves, or at least get a perspective from both parties, because otherwise how could, because people don't know that this world is what it is, right? They don't understand that we're all walking around as programmed traumas and subconscious programs, so they don't understand that people that believe they're being authentic are actually spreading gossip or saying things that are not true and based in fear for their own survival, or because they're in a state of fight or flight, or whatever the case might be. It is really important that we identify what's really going on in here with the whole matrix, and how this is how the deepest levels of separation and hate and karma are created. And that's why it's one of the 4 agreements, to use impeccable speech, and to not make assumptions. You know, we have to really, really see everything from an open perspective and get as much information if we're planning on making some sort of judgment. Because when we judge others, we're judging ourselves straight out, and that doesn't mean anything like spiritual. That's just science. You know, if you're seeing something in your reality, it belongs to you in some way. And the only way to bring clarity to the scenario is to see how it applies to you. What is it trying to tell us? Sometimes it's telling us just mind our own business because we don't know what's really going on. But honestly, it's like superbly important to know truth. Because what happens if you go to another person where the who's involved in the situation, you might find out the other story, and you could find out that someone that you guys, sorry, my dogs are playing really rough. Calm down, Skittles. Jeez. Okay, well, they're super worked up. You can tell that I'm all feisty. But seriously, we really have to just start getting to know people personally. And if we have questions and we doubt their authenticity, asking them directly, getting it from the horse's mouth, and doing for others what you would want somebody to do for you. You would hate for somebody to just assume the worst about you without having facts and believing something somebody else said based on their trauma bonds and their karmic ripples and their energetic pull on the universe in general. So everybody stay vigilant and watch your thoughts and live in your heart. I love you. Bye.